wanna show you many acres. MVP on your team, Brian to the Lakers. Caught up in my rapture, I need to pay up. No entanglements, no Will and Jada. Whatever you need, go get it. Whatever you need, I'll let you. I'm a boss lady, big boss, big moves. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you. Big boss, big moves. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you. Big bag, big move, big bag, big move. I'm a boss lady, big boss, big moves. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you. I don't really care what I gotta say. We got big plans, now babe, lead the way. For you, big boss, big move. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you. Big bag, big move, big bag, big move. I'm a boss lady, big boss, big moves. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you. I'm a boss lady, big boss, big moves. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you. Big boss, big move. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you. Big bag, big move, big bag, big move. Lady, big boss, big moves. Give me all your money, let me flip it for you.
All right. Hello. Happy Tuesday. It is January 31st. It's the last day of the month. Hello to all of the boss ladies that have pulled up. I am super excited for you today. We have someone that I got to just over the last several weeks get to know, get to learn from. I am so inspired by this woman, okay? You talk about energy, you talk about success, you talk about showing up in all the ways, all the levels. She does that and so much more. I see you guys pulling up on Facebook. I've got Facebook going. We are live here. We have our YouTube channel. You can watch us there as well. So there's several ways that you can participate today. And then as you pull up backstage, I will be bringing you in. You can ask the questions to the queen, Vanessa Darby. Okay, so excited. If you were with us last month, you know we had MSNBC producer Tamisha Harris pulling up. She is booking for not only MSNBC, she's connected to all of the producers on all of the big networks. And I knew for February, I had to bring it just as big, if not bigger. And that's what I feel like we're doing today with Vanessa Darby. So before I bring her in, I want to just give you a little bit of information about her. Man, have you heard of that show Scandal? Huh? It was on ABC, or maybe How to Get Away with Murder. Okay, that was another one. We all know Viola. Okay, queening right now. So many additional programs, and now there's the brand. It's called Shondaland. Many of us are familiar with the Shonda Rhimes, and Vanessa Darby is in the place to be. It's all about who knows you. Okay, so to give you more about Vanessa, she is an experienced marketing consultant. She has launched campaigns for Sony Music Entertainment, Universal Music Group, the YMCA. She's also a dynamic public speaker and writer. Her works have been featured in Teen Vogue, Thought Catalog, the Drake Management. Also in 2016, she founded Moxie Nashville. It's a social media agency that provides creative services to clients in the entertainment industry. Like myself, I'm in the entertainment industry. Amen. Anybody in the entertainment industry on here? Okay. Yes, we are. All right. And she, again, is currently the social media manager for Shondaland. So this is big for us today. We want to build like the big brands do. We want to build like the big corporations and media agencies and media companies are building. And I'm so honored to have her here today. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Miss Vanessa Darby.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. How you doing?
Girl, listen, I am inspired. I was lucky enough to be able to blow dry my hair in time. The Lord said, let me find you a lip right quick. So he got me.
That's all you need, a lip and a lash, and you'll be okay.
Girl, well, we don't have no lashes, but we got some lips. So we don't make it because we are here today to be inspired. And, you filmed with us yesterday on the Connect Show Miami. Girl, like that was the first time I got to see you, hear you, feel you all the way.
I come with a lot of energy, y'all.
Okay, the media training has paid off. The education has paid off. Your experience, all the things, and I'm just so honored to have you today. So I'm excited for you to take it away. We got a few people that I'm going to let pull up today, and just to be able to ask you questions and participate. Miss Pilar Chapo, welcome.
I love it. I love a live audience. Okay, I always tell people I'm an extrovert in every sense of the word, so this can be as painful or as painless as you want it to be. Okay, so I get energy from people. So if you give me energy, you're gonna get it right back. So definitely love a live situation. Okay.
Well, good. We have some of our hosts here. Wendy Morales is here. Amanda Waters is here. Takaya. Hi, Takaya. Welcome. Daquan Starnes, welcome. So happy to have you here. I'll keep bringing you all in. Please go ahead. Tell us your name. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Vanessa is going to be kind enough to really answer your questions, dive deep. We also have people on Facebook and YouTube, and on the YouTube thread, I'll get your questions as well. So, Vanessa, let's get into it, because really what we want to know is how to... Girl, what is Shonda Rhimes doing on Instagram? What is Shonda Rhimes doing on Instagram? We want to know that and more. So wherever you want to begin, most of us here are business owners or entrepreneurs. We want to be seen. We want to be known. We want to be heard. Yeah. And I'd love for you just to take the lead and really start where you feel most comfortable. We'll jump in with questions where we can.
Perfect. All right. So thank you again for having me here. I really appreciate it. If you have a question, I always watch the chat box. I'm looking to the right. I'm looking at y'all. So if you have a question, feel free to drop it. I can navigate and chat and talk and do all the things. So I'm definitely good with that. Thank you again for having me on the show. I'm super excited. Last night was amazing, and we're just going to continue with that same energy. And so, like it was mentioned before, my name is Vanessa. It's like Vanessa with an extra kick. That's what I always tell people. Yeah. And I have been working in the entertainment marketing arena for 10 years now, professionally, but I've always grown up with social media. And so just to see how marketing has changed and branding has evolved, I want to get into that with you all. So if you could do me a favor and first drop in the chat. I see some people coming from Chicago. Hi, Sora Brooks, and from Nashville. I see Blakely in the audience as well. Let me know where you're from. And if you do have a business, let me know what industry you're in. Right. Hi, Danielle. Let me know what industry you're in and what you're selling or what you are promoting. I would love to know that as well. And while we're getting that going, I'm just going to do a little brief recap about what I do and what my business does. So I did found Moxie Nashville, which is a brand development agency. And we get to work with brands and companies in the entertainment industry and beyond full time. I'm actually on my lunch break right now. I am a social media manager at Shondaland. And so we get to promote a lot of shows and podcasts and editorial pieces to really move the needle when we're talking about culture and innovation and all those things when it comes to creative content. So it's super exciting to be there as well. And really just pivoting your career. You can really do whatever you want to do, and you always can pursue whatever God is putting on your heart. So that's the underlying tone. Now we're going to get into some marketing. Okay. We're going to get into some marketing tips. So I have a little bit of a couple questions I want to ask y'all. First is, what is branding to you? All right. I need to see some people in the chat. What do you all consider branding? And when someone says personal brand, what do you think of? All right. So I'm seeing also some people come in from, I think it's Takia. She's in skincare and cosmetics. I see Danielle from Miami. She's in PR, events, and media. So when you hear the word branding, let me know what you think. because that's very, very key to setting this tone. As I mentioned before, in last night during our taping, one thing that was told to me very early on in my career is that branding is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Okay, so branding is something that takes into consideration your reputation, your values, and your goals. And one thing you'll hear people on Instagram try to use interchangeably a lot of the time is branding and marketing. But those are actually two very different things. And so you want to make sure that you understand that branding is something that people can talk about even when you're not there. Right. So it's the products that you offer, it's the services that you offer, but it's also the spirit in which you offer it in. If I had to say the brand of the Connect Network is this, that, and the other, I can use adjectives in order to do that. It's so much more than just logos and colors and slogans and taglines. It really is the essence and the underpinnings of your company, your product or service. I'm looking in the chat right now. I see the DMV, retail, and e-commerce. Okay. Is it Kamira? Kamira Cam Wallace? And then Danielle, you're right on your core values. Exactly. So when people say I'm working on my brand, right? I'm working on my brand. I'm getting my brand together. What does that mean? What does that mean? It could be so many different things. Within the branding, we have marketing, and we'll get into that in just a second. But I want to make sure that we're all on the same page when we understand that your brand speaks for you, even when you're not there. I'm gonna pause for a second. Did you want to? I saw you pop on screen, so feel free to jump in. I can flow with you.
No, I don't. I don't have anything to add. I'm just a student listening. I love what you said yesterday. You said this during the show. You said your brand is what people say when you're not in the room, girl.
When you're not in the room.
Heavy. I love that. It's
yeah.
true.
I mean, and think about it. Your brand can be the brand of your company. It can be the brand of your personality, especially with influencer marketing now. Everybody appears to be a brand, but you really want to make sure that you understand what that means. And I mean, how we say it day to day, how are you coming off to people, right? So if people think that you're rude, if people think that you don't have great customer service, if people think that you don't respond to comments, if people think that they can't DM you, right? Or that you don't even have a policy so that they can contact you, that all impacts your brand. How many times have we been to any sort of restaurant and they don't give us good customer service? We're out, right? Like we're out, we're tweeting, we're texting. We're like, don't ever go to X, Y, and Z on such and such street. I'm not going to call out any names, right? Don't ever go there because this is what happened to me. That impacts your brand. So you always want to think about that when you are approaching your business or even your personal brand, your content development, all those heavy buzzwords that you see floating around social media right now. Your brand is really about what is your company or what is your reputation, even when it's not there, when you're not there. And also, can it stand alone? Right? So do you have to be a part and intertwine within your brand in order for it to be successful? So these are all questions as business owners and as women in business that we have to ask ourselves every day. And there's no right or wrong answer. Your branding is something that will continue to evolve and continue to grow as you continue to evolve and you continue to grow. And so you just want to be sure that your reputation, your values, your core members of who you are, and that is always front and center, and that you're very aware of what happens when people talk about you. All right. So I want to say that as well. I see branding is creating consistency and presence to build connection. Love that. Social media is a great place for community and connection. Spot on. Appears to be a brand. Yeah, there's no shade being thrown. Okay. There's no shade being thrown, but you'll see it. You will really see it, especially in this day and age. And I love social media. I've been on social media since AOL Instant Messenger, since the GeoCity days, since Zanga. So I'm a fan of social media. But when we talk about branding and establishing a brand and building a brand, we are very, very clear on what those objectives are. And your strategy comes from the brand that you want to be. So don't just think that you can just do something haphazardly. Take some thought into it, take a beat, and ask yourself, how do you want to be seen in the world? How do you want to show up in the world? And that is going to be the underpinning of your brand. My second question, I love the energy, y'all. Keep it up. I'm definitely seeing y'all in the chat. Takia says a visual representation of what your company and or product and services. Yes, your branding can also represent what we call a brand kit. So it can be your logo, it can be your company colors. If if, I got this flyer for the Connect Network, and if it was, I don't know, black and purple, but I saw every other color was different, I'm like, man, this doesn't look like it belongs to that company. So your branding should also visually and aesthetically be a representation of what your entire company does. Okay, that's a great call out. Does anyone know? And I used to be a professor at Tennessee State University, so I used to teach this, y'all. So I may flip into professor mode. But does anyone know where branding originated from? Let's see. I'm watching the chat. I'm seeing some notes, some shaking heads. Take a wild guess. It's actually not too far off. You probably do know, but take a wild guess.
I have literally no idea.
Okay. Seems like way out there, but like the original branding was, on livestock. It's way out.
That's correct.
Wow.
That's correct.
Yeah, we go to the or slavery. I'm just gonna put that out there too.
Or slavery. Black History Month is tomorrow. Okay, that's gonna be lesson number 2. That's gonna be lesson number 2.
Here we go.
So Cammy, you got it right as well. So branding originated from cattle, right? So branding, in that sense of the word, we talk about. Yes, good job. I don't have any grades to give y'all, but shout out to y'all. But branding originated from farming and cattle, and so what
damn,
farmers,
I got you talking about sharecroppers.
I did say sharecroppers. I said, Lord. Well, since we're there, what farmers were able to do is that they were able to mark their cattle, and if a cattle went astray, they knew which tribe it belonged to. And so again, when we talk about content, when we talk about social media assets, when we talk about your company's brand identity, it should all look similar. Someone should be able to look at anything on social media, whether it's a logo or a video or a reel or a TikTok video, and know that it belongs to you if your brand is visually strong. And if they can't, then maybe you want to do some things to tweak that and make sure that people can see that this piece of content belongs to you. And so when we take that and fast forward into the modern day world, your branding should all look cohesive. It doesn't have to look the same, but it should look cohesive. I saw a great quote by someone on the internet who talks about branding specifically for churches. And he gave the comparison of Apple when they started rolling out with the iPod and iMessage and iTunes, right? I don't know if you all remember that. I remember the iPod days. I remember before iPod days, but I don't know if y'all remember when the iPod first came out, everything started to be branded as I, right? So there was I this, I that, I this, I that. And the execs at Apple didn't want that to happen. So around, I think it was 2014, 2013, they started to revamp everything as Apple, because that's the parent company that they wanted the brand to represent. Apple is synonymous with excellence. It's synonymous with being supreme. So if you notice, it became Apple Music or Apple, even some of their hardware as far as the computers and everything, they started using Mac, like iMac, MacBook. And so they started to change their branding so they did not become iComputer, iPhone, iPod. And so it's okay to have, and the influencer's name is Brady Schreier. It's okay to have what he calls a branded house and not just a house full of brands. And so you may have different products and different services, and that's okay. Just make sure they can fit in the same house. All right. So if you're doing a lot, then maybe things should be separate under a different company. Right? Again, we don't want to cause any confusion. Make sure all your stuff makes sense. And as a business owner, you can do that very easily by doing consumer research. You can also put out a survey to maybe your previous customers and ask them, how do you see our brand? How do you see this product? And ask them, maybe get a small focus group together of people who are your ideal clients. So there are very easy ways to test the temperature of how your brand is being perceived. And as a business owner, you always want to be on top of that. Okay. So branded house, not a house full of brands. All right. Make sure you're not just throwing everything in the house. All right. Danielle says, right, all my programs make sense. It traces back to media. Boom. All right. So Danielle is obviously a media professional. So all of her services fall under media. Cammie said, would love your thoughts on images that say I'm a singer without holding a mic, or I'm a plumber without holding a pipe. So that I think that's a great question, Cammie. So when it comes to stuff like that, if your brand is strong enough to stand alone without you physically doing the thing, then sure, have your press shots, have your press images. I worked in the music industry at Motown Gospel when I worked at the record label. So there are plenty of shots that we use just for content, but you always want to also have something that identifies you with your product or service. If you feel like there's more to, I'm not sure if you're a singer, but if you feel like there's more to what you do, maybe you're an influencer, maybe you also focus in lifestyle content, outside of just singing, make sure you do have a shot that showcases what you do. But if you have a breadth of services, it's okay to have different images as well. Just make sure it makes sense. So your face doesn't look different in one image to another image. Okay. Make sure that people can look at it and know that it's you. That's a great question. Okay, yes, you're a singer. Okay, Cammie, bust out a little note.
Hey,
too.
Cammie girl. Hey, girl. No, she has a really big brand. She has albums. She's on all the things. She's got the blue check. She sang. She's actually.
I love it.
Susie Moore connected us to the connection. Yeah, she's the real deal.
Love it.
All the things. So yeah, she's got it going on. Hey, girl, I was happy to see you, girl. I was happy to see you.
Love it.
Okay.
Awesome. So now let's hop over to marketing. All right. So we talked about branding. So branding is your reputation, your values, all of that, right? Branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. If y'all don't learn nothing else from me, take that with you from my marketing director, Karen Jackson, because it's so critical. Now, what marketing is, people always say, I'm marketing, right? I'm marketing. But the crazy thing is that marketing is actually a set of activities. Right? So marketing is a verb just as much as it is a noun. My definition of marketing is sharing your message or art with your people in ways that they can understand, that creates value, and that allows you to profit. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Sharing your art or your message with your people in ways they can understand, that creates value and allows you to profit. And if you're in the VIP section, I did put it in our private chat, so you can feel free to copy and paste that. But marketing is a set of activities. Now let's break down this definition. Sharing your message or your art. Sometimes we do get caught up, especially when we're charging for our services, which we should. Okay, I don't believe in working for free on it, huh? I believe in making sure that you're making money from what you're doing if this is your business. Okay, if this is your business. So you're sharing your message or your art with your people. Now, this is the first time in 22 minutes that I've mentioned people, because your branding and your marketing, your marketing, not your branding, your marketing doesn't just stand alone. Your marketing should take into account your audience. Okay. Now, I always give this example. My mom, she's a baker. She can make pies, cakes, cookies, anything, right? So she makes an amazing pecan pie. Like it looks aesthetically great. It's so good. People talk about it all the time. I don't like pecan pie. Okay. Now, she also makes a delicious, moist, like rich chocolate cake. And she also drizzles some homemade caramel on top. Now I can get with the chocolate cake. Okay. Now, bad marketing is like trying to shove down a pecan pie down my throat. Right. You know, when we're online, it's like, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. You haven't even vetted if they need your product or service. And quiet as it's kept, you haven't vetted if they even like you or not. And in 2023, we buy from people that we like. We're buying from referrals. We're buying from influencers. So often people say my marketing isn't working. You haven't even gotten the pulse on your audience. Okay. So I'm going to get a little advanced here. But if anybody does not have a business profile on your Instagram, on your Facebook, if they're not set to the business, you are missing out on analytics. Simple things like the age of your audience. What's the majority age? The split versus those who identify as male or female as well. Because there's a difference between saying, oh, it's lit, or I had a great time, right? There's a difference between saying, hey, girl, hey, or hi, how are you? Same message, different methodology. All right. So you want to make sure you know as much about your audience to the point of legally stalking that you know as much about your audience as you can. In the marketing world, we call that a customer avatar. Don't worry about the buzzwords right now. Just make sure that you know that you're talking to your people. The person in my head, her name is Tasha. Okay. She loves the Lord, but she might cuss a little bit. Okay. She has disposable income. She's a high performer at her job. So when I say, hey, sis, I see you, she knows what that means. When I go to talk, or if I have something for sale, I can use the language that's going to be applicable to her. It's not necessarily that you have to be in a box, but you want to make sure that you are saying something that's relevant to people who want to hear your voice. And there are, contrary to what people say, there are people who want to hear your voice. All right. So with you as the business owner, you have to do your due diligence to find your people and to talk like you want them to respond to you. All right. So you don't have to use big words and buzzwords. And I talk very casually. That's my personal brand. I tell people all the time, yes, I can do this, that, and the other. Yes, I can code switch if I want to, but I don't need to. Right. I don't need to. So, but that's my brand. Okay. I've worked hard to establish that. That's my brand. So you want to make sure you're saying the right words to the right people. All right. So we're still going with this definition. Sharing your message or art with your people in ways they can understand. And that's key. I had a pastor ask me one time, should I get on TikTok? And I said, well, not the majority of your congregation. If they're a little older, they may not be on TikTok. Right. So if you want to have all the church mothers in the audience who traditionally are in their 70s and 80s and 90s, they may not be on TikTok. They may need a paper bulletin. Right. So you want to make sure that your customers, or even your audience, that they can understand you. Right. And that what you're doing is relevant to them. You're not going to see me doing a whole bunch of TikTok dances and popping and locking. That's not me nor my audience. Thank the Lord. Okay. That's not us. So if you see me breakdancing, I'm trying something new. Okay. All right. So you want to make sure that your audience can understand what it is that you're saying to them. And that could be in a blog, a video, whatever the case is. If you notice, y'all, the marketing is really what comes last, right? So the marketing is really after you've established who you are, what your goals are, who your people are, and then how do you reach them? What activities do you do to reach them? And oftentimes we do it out of order. We think we have to start with a great marketing campaign. We'll start filming videos and everything, and it's not hitting. It's because you haven't done the preliminary work in order to make sure that you can share your message with your people in a way that they can understand. And it's that simple. So sometimes we just have to flip the order of what we're doing and make sure that we're getting it right. The latter part of the definition, that creates value and allows you to profit. Now, creating value, again, is contingent upon your goals, right? So what I deem valuable, you may not deem valuable, or what so-and-so deems valuable, so-and-so may not deem valuable. So again, creating value is relative to the industry that you're in. And it's also relative to the audience that you're serving. And if you notice, I keep using words like serving, right? Because when you share your gift, it's a gift in and of itself. Right. So oftentimes we are sharing ourselves and we're exploiting ourselves, and we don't have to do that. We're just sharing our gifts with the world. And so when you are doing that with the people that know you, love you, and can understand you, then there creates this beautiful exchange of commerce, which is the last part of the definition that allows you to profit. Now, I will say this. I am all for awareness campaigns. I'm all for building the buzz. But at the end of the day, the objective of marketing, not branding, the objective of marketing, in my working definition, is that there should be a conversion. There should be someone who signs up for your email. There should be someone who buys your course. There should be someone who books you for a service. There should be a conversion. It may not be immediately every single time, but the goal is to get someone into your community so that you can talk to them again in the future. Okay. And Danielle said, come on, conversion. I know that's right. Right. So there should be an action that happens that you want people to do to make sure that they are not only on your side and on your team, but that they can be a potential customer. Right. And it's great. I know how it feels when you get that first sale. It's amazing. I know how that feels. You want to make sure that you make it easy for people to do that every single time. And so that's when we hop into the different methods of using email, social, YouTube, whatever platform you want to use. But I want to make sure that you set all that stuff up before you even do that. Now I'm going to pause because that was a lot. I know I went through about 30 minutes. Let me do a pulse check. How are we feeling right now?
I feel good. I have like 12 questions, but
Okay.
y'all are very important too. So I want to make sure your questions are answered as well.
Yeah.
So if you have a question at this moment for Vanessa, please drop it in the comments or in the private chat. While they do that, you touched on this yesterday and I loved it. And this
Yeah.
might be a good time to kind of segue into this because I want to talk about pitching, right? And we talked about that, how you got this position with Shondaland as, you know, one of her social media managers. So there's levels to that and intentionality to that. I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about the different platforms from LinkedIn to Instagram and also Facebook. How do we, or how should we, from your expertise, be utilizing each of these platforms individually? Because you dropped so many times this broadcast on February.
Y'all better tune in.
Yeah,
Try to
for real.
tell y'all.
So while we have you, I'd love for you to just share a little bit on each brand, LinkedIn,
Yes.
you know, Insta, and then Facebook. Your thoughts on how to use each because they're different.
Yes, they are. And I always say that Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, Discord, that it's nothing but CNN, MSNBC, NB, like they're all networks now, right? So it's not only how you promote yourself. We've moved away from promotion. We've moved away from, hey, I got this thing, go buy it, I'm going to post about it. No, there's literally storytelling now that's involved. If you say you own a podcast, right, and you cut a clip from the podcast and you put it on Instagram, and your goal is to get people to YouTube because the full length of the video is on YouTube. I'm going to bust your bubble a little bit. People may never get off Instagram. Like they may never click the link in your bio. They may never click the link in your story. It does not mean that you don't market to them where they are. Okay. There may be, and I believe this was an old stat, so I know it's probably more at this point. It took 7 touch points on the internet in order to get people to buy something. So they had to see your advertisement, then they had to see you on Instagram, then they had to see you on Facebook, then they had to hear their favorite influencer talking about you. All of that at least 7 times before they actually went and bought something for you. And that was in the early 2010. So I know it's more than that now. And even back then, the lifespan of a tweet was 18 minutes. Literally, it would stay on your feed for 18 minutes. So again, if we're talking about it from a statistical standpoint, social media is a very quick medium. It doesn't mean that it doesn't serve its purpose, but how you use it is going to be so critical. So let's kind of break down those platforms a little bit. I always say that TikTok is great for short form video content. Short form video content isn't going anywhere. And that's just my own prediction. This is Vanessa Darby talking. Okay. These are my own predictions for social media. So TikTok is great when we talk about short form content. It's also great for discovery. A lot of people are going on TikTok to figure out how to do things. So hop into the trends and the hashtags, and you can literally Google. There's so many TikTok experts that are hopping in and showing you how to use it. When you talk about using specific platforms, go actually to the platform, go to TikTok's Creative Center, go to Facebook Business Tools. All of these platforms have tools that help you for free in order to use their platform in the best way possible and to slip into that algorithm that everyone always talks about. Other thing that you want to talk about is Facebook too. So Facebook, I mentioned yesterday, Meta, its parent company, Meta owns Giphy, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. So Facebook, I always say, is still the advertising place to be. If you are placing advertisements on Facebook, you can also place ads on Instagram. If you are putting a shop tab on Facebook, you can also put a shop tab on Instagram and integrate your e-commerce. So there's so many different things that you can do with Facebook. It's the Walmart of the social media world. It's the OG at this point of the social media world. So don't neglect Facebook at all. There's still some tools within Facebook too, like Facebook groups that you can still be a part of. Even now, live broadcasting, Facebook Live, you can do stuff like that. So Facebook is still a solid choice, especially when you talk about all of the different companies that they have acquired. LinkedIn, I always say people sleep on LinkedIn. It's a bomb place for introductions. If you don't know the head of marketing at such and such, or if you don't know the marketing manager at such and such, go on LinkedIn. Literally put in the company that you want to pitch to and find out who the name of the person you actually have to pitch to. And so oftentimes you get to see professionally who you're connected to that can make that easy introduction as well. Twitter, I always say, is good for quick, short bursts of information. So if you're having a flash sale, if you're pushing out a new episode of something and you want to link to it, Twitter is the only place where you can still sort of at this point get away with just posting text. Any other platform that I mentioned, you should at least have a photo, if not a video, to accompany your post so that it populates a little bit better in these feeds. So Twitter, you can still get away with it. Twitter is also a great place to join in on conversation. So anytime there is a live award show, you'll always see hashtag Grammys, or you'll always see that people are talking about the award show and they're joining in on the conversation in order to do so. And so Twitter is a great place to have that conversation. I'm a fan of Black Twitter. I'm in Black Twitter. So you will always find your people on Twitter using a hashtag very simply. Instagram, again, is great for mobile shopping. It's great to use for discovery as well. I discover new music on Instagram all the time, especially with their music feature now. So you can still discover a lot and be discovered on the Explore page as well. Again, I want to stress that anything that you use, make sure that you're actually, as business owners, you don't have to be a marketing guru, but sign up for these free email lists where they send out the new feature emails. They're really free. Sign up for their creator tab, or I'm sorry, go on their creator tab and sign up for any sort of thing that you can get, any training that you can get to better utilize the platforms. And one more thing, also in all these platforms, one thing that's really beneficial is a lot of people have their contact information. So a lot of people will have their email address in the bio, and we're going to segue into pitching, but I can't tell you how insane it is when people ask me for an email address and it's literally in my Instagram, right? Or it's literally in my link tree. And so sometimes you just have to dig a little, do a little digging in order to get to the person that you want. But we used to say there were 60 degrees of separation between a person. It's like 2 now. Like you could go on Instagram and find these people. And so when we talk about who we want to pitch to and who we want to be seen by, you definitely want to make sure that you hop on their socials, see what they're talking about, see what they like, see what they're interested in, and then make that pitch based off something that they said. Does that make sense?
So good. Thank
you. Absolutely. I'm seeing a question from Danielle. Do you think we should have separate social media handles for different programs or companies, or can everything flow from one page? It takes a lot of capacity to manage multiple social accounts. Thank you. Great question, Danielle. Super fabulous question. 2 things. One, when we talk about different social platforms and not having the bandwidth, the first question is, do you need to hire somebody? That's the very first question I want to ask, because oftentimes people think they have a marketing problem. They may have a workflow problem. So if you feel overwhelmed, then you may need to hire someone to manage 1 or 2 accounts. Secondly, and this is my opinion, if you are having, if you're, again, in your branded house, if your services don't fit under your brand, then you may need a separate platform. All right. So if I do marketing and consultations and speaking and courses, which is everything that I do, and then I have a lash company, I may not want the Moxie Nashville Lash Company to be under the Moxie Nashville agency. Right. So I may want to start Vanessia's Lashes, Vanessia's Lux and Lash Company over here, different social media handle, and still have Moxie Nashville. And then this is why I always promote having a personal brand as well. Because you may just have Danielle Page Jeter, and under that page, you have everything that people can find, right? And so you'll see it. Complex and Revolt are great at doing this. They have complex news and complex sports and even Blavity. Go look at what some of these larger brands are doing as well and see if you need to segment your type, because you're having, again, different audiences for different products and services. So if your audience is different, I do recommend separating, but it really is a case-by-case basis. Okay. So informal. You know what? That's cool too. I don't know if it's informal or informational. Either way, we're good to go. Okay, great. Let's hit on pitching really, really quickly. Shout out to everybody I see. Cammie, Blakely, Danielle. Thank you so much for joining. So the last thing is on pitching, and I really want to harp on this. And my friend, Brittany Oliver, she is a master whiz at pitching. Okay. She is amazing. She gets stuff in Essence and Fast Company, LinkedIn. Like people hire her to write all these different things. She's an amazing writer. Again, if you're in the VIP section, I'm going to plug her plug her website. Brittany Oliver, Lemons to Lemonade is her brand, but she has a whole course on pitching and she's amazing at it. But pitching is one thing that you want to make sure your brand is as tightened up as possible when you go pitch. Okay. That means having a brand deck. Get on Canva, type in presentation, or go on Photoshop, type in presentation. I'm sorry, not Photoshop, PowerPoint, and type in presentation. Go on Google Slides, type in presentation. All these templates will come up for you. Okay. In a brand deck, what you want to put is about your brand. And again, you can Google brand deck template. You'll get a step-by-step guide from someone. In your brand deck, you want to include who you are, what you do. And the major thing you would really want to include is the next step. Okay. Oftentimes people pitch without actually asking you anything. I can't tell you how many times I've had people come to me when I've done a session and they come up to me and they give me their elevator pitch of their company. And so they'll keep talking. I let them talk for about maybe 2 minutes. And I say, great, what can I help you with? And they don't have an answer. So sometimes people know that they need help, but they don't even know what they need help in. I did a blog that talked about the 3 things you need to do before you ask someone for coffee. And that really came because people always want to pick your brain, but they don't know what they even need help on, right? So you want to make sure that you really are clear on what you're needing help with so that people can help you. So if you want to get, if you want to get on someone's YouTube channel, pitch that. And then have the stats in your pitch deck to back it up. And then have your next steps. Keep it short, keep it sweet, and make sure that you're pitching to the right person. And then this is another nugget too. If they don't respond in maybe a week or 2, always do a follow-up email. Oftentimes, the power is in the follow-up. If you're in the VIP section as well, I just dropped that blog. It's on VanessiaDarby.com. It's called Don't Ask Anyone to Meet for Coffee Unless You've Done These 3 Things. It's a long title, but it really was because people were asking me, how can they pitch and how can they get on someone's calendar? And oftentimes when you're talking about borrowing someone's time,
that's so good, Vanessa. So good.
Yeah, like it has to be beneficial for both people. Mm-hmm. It has to be beneficial. Like we want to help people. We want to share our expertise. We want everybody to win. But don't ask me for coffee if you're asking me something that you can Google. I've done enough interviews. I've done enough blogs. I've done enough YouTube episodes and podcasts for people to know know about me. And so if you're asking me something that you can Google, that means you haven't done your research, which honestly makes you look bad in the end. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you really want to understand the value of people's times. My very first job in the industry, I got from a Facebook direct message that I DM'd the CEO. We'll talk about that later. But that's how I got started in radio and marketing. Literally, I got turned around. So, and that came from literally DMing somebody. And so again, you want to be clear with what you're asking for, be as professional as possible, and do not be afraid to ask people for help. I'm going to drop another nugget here in these last few minutes. The Small Business Administration has a nonprofit arm called SCORE, SCORE. Okay. They have chapters all across the country in every single city. You can get a business mentor for free. They also have classes that range from like $25 to $35. Again, all across the country, depending on what city you're in. They have classes on marketing and pitching and business planning and all of that. So make sure that you are utilizing all of your resources and that you actually, as business owners, that you are taking the initiative to see what resources are out there for you.
So good. So good. And y'all, she told you she's on a lunch break. Okay. So she got to get back to
look, I ain't trying to get fired, trying to do these masterminds. No, they know.
Listen, I'm so grateful for your time today. You have so many dimes. And before you go, share with people because they can work with you. Your company is doing so much. You have some free freebies on your website, but there's also some ways that through your consulting and even just with some of your programs that they can hire you. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about that before you go.
Yes, absolutely. I'm gonna see. Let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. I haven't done this on StreamYard in a long time, so let me double check. I don't want to just share everything.
Um,
Hold on. Let me
Oh
close
yeah,
some of
girl.
this. Let me close some of this.
If you want me to share your website, I'm happy to.
Perfect. Well, here's the thing, you all. So especially for you all, I have a 24-hour gift. Okay, it's 24 hours. If you're in the private chat, I dropped it in there for you. If you go to Moxie Nashville, MOXIE Nashville.com/connect, you all can download a free copy of my Zoom recording basics. So again, when we talk about professionalism, how you show up in these online spaces, that's very, very critical. So I have a quick PDF so that you all can make sure you're showing up as your best professional self, that your camera isn't greasy, that your lighting is great, that your microphone works. Because again, all that matters. Thank you so much. So if you go there, you'll be able to get that for free. You see, it's normally $19.99, but I'm giving it to you all for free for the next 24 hours. If you have any issue with the link, you can still go to my website and use the code CONNECT, and it should still work. It should still work for you.
Oh, good. But you have more than this. Don't be afraid. See how modest she is? She's
Yes.
not even telling you anything that y'all can actually buy. And I want you to tell the folks what they can buy because
Okay,
you have
well,
so many
fine.
good things.
Well, fine. So again, Moxie Nashville is a brand development agency. So there we do coaching and consulting. And so we also have the Moxie Schoolhouse, which is what you're seeing on the screen right now. That's where we have our courses and our templates. So if you want to get your business together, that is our signature course. I go through literally how to start your business in one day. It's less than 90 minutes. Get your LLC, get your EIN, get your PO box. If you need coaching, we have coaching packages there as well. We also have Moxie merchandise, so you can get some merch as well. We have our signature let them know who you are collection. So we have stuff for photographers, videographers, graphic designers, media professionals. So if you go to moxienashville.com, everything is literally there. You can click around and see what we have to offer you as well. And you just come on, visual presentation. I love it. I love it. So you're able to see and also get to know me and my team more. If you are interested in working with us, you click fill out the interest form at the bottom of the screen, and we'll be able to reach out and contact you as well.
Yeah, let's give it up, Vanessa Darby.
Ooh, thanks for having me. Y'all are fun. I like people talk back to me now. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Girl, I love everything about you. Your energy, you're so down to earth, so relatable, so easy to just learn from. And we're grateful for your time today. We will send the replay out if you did miss the beginning, middle, or even some of the end. Miss Vanessa Darby, have a fantastic day. Thank you guys all for joining us. See you soon.
Bye.